Have you felt like all of the games that you've been picking up on VR have just been mini games with no overarching story, nothing really kind of tying them together?
That's almost exactly how I feel about nearly every every VR game we play.
Hey guys, this is Moriarty.
And this is Crypto Spook.
And today we're taking a look at Ripple Effect, which is more of a platform than an actual game itself.
I see that you have Superman movement. I can appreciate that.
It has a lot of different things. It has swinging motions, it has flying, it has jumping, it's got all sorts of stuff. The entire idea of Ripple Effect is that it offers you a bunch of small mini games, different environments, and every week they add a new one to the platform.
Every week? So like they said this is our plan, or that's what they're going to do?
Every single week they will add a new game to the platform.
That's a pretty bold claim.
They want this to include a whole bunch of little games here and there. This comes from the lead developer and programmer of Hover Junkers. This is their take on how to produce a VR game that can stand up and actually be a must-have VR game.
Kind of blur the lines between what is and isn't a game, make a virtual world, and then launch the games from within that world. That's really neat. I like that.
Exactly, yeah. That's the idea. I think it's a cool idea.
I do too, and that sounds a lot better than Steam Home or some of the other Steam launchers that I've seen.
It's kind of broken right now, I'm not gonna lie. It doesn't really have a whole lot in it. It's a couple of little spaces, a couple of little things here and there, but it's just nothing big, right? But I can see how it will be later on.
Like you can design a little clubhouse for yourself and your friends and then explore your shared virtual world together while joining the same games. That could even make it easier than trying to invite a friend. You know, you meet up first inside of Ripple Effect, and then you go play the game together through it. It'd be great since Steam still doesn't allow us to invite friends.
It's got some really neat stuff going on. I tell you what though, this game ended up killing my arms, just destroying my arms, mostly because of the throw a spear thing.
It's a very odd throw effect for the spear as well.
I wasn't a big fan of the spear. I tried to be good at this, and I couldn't be good at it.
It looks so cool, though.
It's so much fun, especially grabbing the spears out of midair and then throwing them back at the bad guys. But the thing is that it never felt like the spears were going where I wanted them to do.
It looks really weird. Like, there is obviously no gravity effects on these spears. You're just kind of throwing them, and then they become a static object with no type of wind effects or anything like that coming back at you.
Yeah, and oh man, it was really tough. Plus, I don't know, it was just very, very difficult to do this and win. And it never stops, so like, you just keep going until you finally go, oh my god, I can't do it anymore.
I can't move my arms!
And I couldn't. Once I was done, I could not move my arms anymore. I couldn't move them for a few days. Like, I was dying because of this game.
So you're saying that's a good shoulder workout is what you're saying?
You don't need to lift, bro. But yeah, the problem was I just never felt like they were going where I felt they should go. I found that it was easier to just kind of toss them out as fast as possible, as opposed to actually trying to hit them, because I didn't feel like the bad guys actually had any weak spots or anything. You know, it was just throw them out as quickly as you could.
You seem to be getting a lot better at it, though. Maybe they moved them closer?
I just figured out how to throw them. But they never went straight. Like, I was throwing all of my spears sideways.
Yeah, I see that, and it does bug me, too.
And it's got all sorts of just little different modes in there besides just throwing spears at things. You've also got... Oh, what was the name of that game? It was, you know, you had to go between lanes and try not to hit the wall. Barrier?
I know exactly what you're talking about. I can see it in my mind, but I sure as heck can't remember the name either.
Yeah, so you do that.
Oh, Barrier X, I think it was.
There you go, Barrier X. This game was way too easy, but that's fine. At one point, I think I'd survived for about 4 minutes without ever touching anything, and I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna smash into the rocks here because it's not getting any harder. This is something that... It's hard to say that... Okay, so here's the problem with this game, overall. I can't review any of the individual games because all of the individual games aren't meant to be reviewed as individual games. None of them are particularly great. They're just kind of there. Some of them are fun, but none of them are that much fun that we are like, oh my god, this is the game to have. The entire idea is that this is a whole bunch of different games. It's a whole bunch of different experiences that you can have while playing in the same universe. But it doesn't actually matter about the specific game itself.
So how would you say the ambiance of the game was? How did it play?
That's what I mean. It's difficult to review any individual game because, you know, you're talking about the Barrier X mode where you're flying back and forth. It was too easy and it was kind of dull. You're talking about the spear thingy and, you know, it was okay. The spears didn't work great, but it was kind of fun. You talk about, you know, you go to a different world and you go to, because that's, okay, I feel like I'm not explaining this well enough. You have a whole bunch of different worlds. In each world, there are a couple of different games. Then you play through those games and you go to another world, and you can travel between them as you want. You have a little menu, you pull up the menu, you can go to any game at any time. You don't have to do the travel through thing if you don't want to, but you can still do that if you do want to. There's a lot of stuff there. The thing is, none of them are actually all that great by themselves. It's the fact that you have, you know, 8 different games and you'll have a new game every week. So after a year, you'll have 60 games that you can play in this.
Well, that does make sense. That's a lot of games. So this is kind of like Rec Room then.
It's sort of like Rec Room, except that instead of being sports-based stuff, I mean, it's still active, but instead of just being sportsy stuff, it's kill a giant spider or swing through space.
Well, that's good, because at least I don't hear, 35 dozen screaming 11-year-old children. So maybe it's not like Rec Room.
It's really difficult for me to review this. That's the problem, because none of the individual experiences are something that I would say you should try. Nothing individual is all that great. The type of mini games that you might find on itch, and you would try it and go, oh, it was okay, I'm glad it was free, you know? Whereas with this, you're getting a lot of those, and they'll continue to build on it and change it and fix things and work together, and they do kind of build on each other as you play through them. So you have your one experience, and then you go to something else, and you go, oh yeah, I learned that already, and you get to build on that experience throughout.
So everything's kind of a one-off experience, but I guess the methods of locomotion are meant to be carried from one game to the next, at least while they're still developing the games. If they bring other people in, I imagine the new developers would have the opportunity to either use the locomotions that were already developed and designed, or to bring their own method.
I mean, that's the thing. Can I review the game? Not really.
I think I know exactly what you mean. It does seem promising, though. I mean, the amount of different disparate games I've seen in here actually look really cool. Now, adding more people to it and having multiple friends play with you at the same time, I think could make this much more fun.
And I can see how they want to create a world for you to kind of live in, as it were. To have your quest of saying, okay, let's go to the lava world and then go to Portal 4 and we're going to take on that mission. Like, that's cool. And I like that idea. I think that's a really neat idea in VR. One of the things about VR is that having a physical space to live in with your friends, that's one of the neat things. You know, in Rec Room, people will hang out in that lobby area for just ever hanging out because it's there and why not, right? And it's not necessarily an activity, but people still like to hang out together in that lobby area.
And there's a lot of neat stuff in that lobby, too. Could you say the same about this? Were there neat things to play with, or was it just kind of a spawning area?
Yeah, no, the lobby system in Ripple Effect is a room that you can walk through that has portals. That's it.
Okay, so that could definitely use some development.
I have a hard time even explaining this game, to be quite frank. So I don't know if they need the lobby.
I think Rec Room seems the most accurate as far as what I've seen so far. The amount of different games they've got. It's just not Rec Room in the fact that these games are not kid-friendly, you know?
I think they could be, but it's just more about, I don't know how to explain this to somebody who hasn't played Rec Room. If you haven't played Rec Room, I don't know how to explain this game to you. It's a series of other smaller games that kind of tie together but kind of don't.
I'm seeing some issues here. What methods of locomotion are there? It seems like they're giving you a full 360-degree playfield, which is an issue at times. And it looks like teleport is your main method of locomotion, as well as several other different flying methods. Is D-pad a regular method?
They have D-pad movement. It seems like the movement is dependent on the game you're playing. The flight thing was only in the flight game. I never saw it again. The teleport I'd only used in the Goblin Smash thing. Everything else I was doing by D-pad. Some of the games you never move.
That makes sense.
Look at the bug I found.
They're just killing themselves. You win!
You never win this mode, you just play it till you die. What I found really interesting about this particular bug is that I had a literally infinite score, so I don't think there is a score in the game.
Maybe they have not yet implemented leaderboards, is what you're saying.
Yeah, because, again, infinite score.
That was a lot of zeros.
A lot of zeros, man.
I'm gonna say it's a septillion. I'm not actually gonna check, but I think you should add that during editing.
What it felt like ultimately to me about this game was that they took all sorts of game modes from other games. For example, this particular game mode is Elven Assassin Mage version.
Yeah, it definitely looks like it.
They took all these different game modes that you get from all these other smaller games, and they put them all together to make a rec room for non-sports rec room. A geek room?
I can appreciate that.
So what do you think, Crypto? How would you describe this game?
I would say that it is a alternate version of Rec Room that is absolutely not for children. Hopefully it's not for children. Keep the children out. I don't like children, that's what I'm trying to say. For a price like, Rec Room's price, I could see that.
Even with Rec Room, we know eventually they're going to monetize.
I know that in Rec Room they actually put ads within the game, inside the Rec Room itself. So, I mean, that's fine. I'm totally okay with seeing ads within VR. It's an absolutely amazing experience.
So there you go, guys. That's Ripple Effect. It's a game platform of some sort. It's very difficult for me to say exactly what it is. If you like it, like it. If you don't like it, don't like it. Don't forget to subscribe. Check out all the links down below. There's a whole bunch of them. They all go someplace. Sometimes they go to places we don't even expect them to go to. It's really kind of a gamble. If you're a gambler, you'll enjoy the links in the description.
And don't forget about our Juniper contest. Literally all you gotta do is go to the site, pick out what game you want, and then like, comment, share, subscribe, all the stuff you're already doing. Just do that on literally any of our videos, and you have a really good chance to win some VR games, or whatever type of game you select. We've got over 140 games up there right now. Get in here, what are you guys waiting for?
And as always,
Until the next one.